Hi folks, my name is Jimbo Snyder. Welcome to my home and welcome to my kitchen. This is Jimbo's Kitchen Know-How. Today we're going to be cutting some steaks. This is a Rib Eye Loin as it comes from the grocery store or wherever you may buy it. This one is a select. That means if you watched my video on Know Your Steaks, you know that is 2 levels down from Prime. There's Prime, Select, Prime, Choice, and Select. It's not the best cut of meat. Best is Prime, second best is Choice. But I can work with this. I have to tenderize it before I cook it, but it's better than getting anything less than Select, plus the price. The price on this one is $8.99 a pound. Comes out to be 16 pounds, $145. Now, hopefully, I'm going to get more than 10 steaks out of this. I'll probably get 14 steaks. That brings the price down a little bit below $10 a pound, maybe somewhere around that area. So it's going to be a lot less than steaks you would buy at the grocery store. Plus, I can cut these up. I wrap them in clear wrap, and then I put them in freezer bags and freeze them and bring them out as I need them. My wife and I, I'm going to cut these thick enough to where I can use 1 steak for 2 people. So I'll end up cooking them, cut them in 2 pieces, and then we'll go for it. So now we're going to find out after I get this cryovac off. And by the way, cryovac you can keep in your refrigerator for several weeks and it won't go bad. The tools, let me explain first of all, where does this come from on the cow? As you remember on Know Your Steaks, I explained to you the different parts of the cow. This is coming from this area right in here. The first cut behind the chuck. This is where your prime rib comes from. This is your ribeye steak. I'm going to use this particular piece of equipment to do it with. This happens to be a Cuisinart electric knife. And Cuisinart, and I'm glad to see this, it comes out with a wide blade. And I want that so it won't be moving around much when I cut. And it also comes with a narrow blade. Now the narrow blade would be for other types, maybe trying to debone something or cutting something a little bit smaller. But when you want a wide cut, you want a wider blade. I got my scale with me. I want to try and get these around 14-ounce steaks. And I'll show you how I do that. And I'll have to take this cryovac bag off, and when I get back to it, and I'll show you where we get started from there. But I'll be right back. Alright folks, got the cryovac off, got the loins in there ready to cut. Now, this is the loin end. This is the part that the next cut of meat would be the New York strip. On this end starts the chuck roast. And the reason I know that is I can look down here. I can't show you on camera. There's more than one muscle down here. On this side, there's just one muscle. This is the loin end, this is the chuck end. Some of the chuck's muscles are starting to encroach into this prime rib. Now this is called the lip-on ribeye. That's what this portion of the cow is. And it's just fat. I mean, it's not a consumable part of the cow. Excuse me. So we're going to cut this part of the fat off because it's not going to do us any good. some idea that it's mostly just fat. So we can't get any usable meat off of this. You work at it, you could probably get a little bit off of here, but it's not worth messing with. So we'll throw that away. Now, I'm going to still have some fat on here. And what I normally do is I will trim this, but I'll trim it after I cut it. Now we're going to start cutting from this end and we'll go all the way Well, folks, we got this puppy all sliced up and everything. Got 16 steaks out of it. And I wanted to show you the difference between a loin end and a cut and a chuck end. This is your chuck end. This was the last steaks I cut out. If you notice this right in here, this is actually part of the chuck. This is a little bit of the ribeye in there, and all this and all this is actually part of the chuck. There's the little bit of the ribeye left, but all of this is good to eat, so don't ever be afraid of what part of the ribeye you get. The other part is the loin end. This is closer to the loin end. The first one I cut actually is the loin muscle and going towards the New York strip. That's just one muscle. You got this part of the ribeye. This is typical of a ribeye. This is the ribeye muscle. This is the chuck muscle that comes in here. This is actually more tender than the ribeye muscle. It's kind of interesting. But I'll end up trimming some of this fat off. These are steaks that are kind of heavy, so I have room to trim it up a little bit. Well, that's about it on the ribeye muscle and cutting up a loin. It's not hard to do with the right equipment. This is a Cuisinart electric knife. I like the wider blade that comes with it. It's easier to keep the blade from wobbling in the loin. Sometimes you get a narrower blade and it starts to work its way one way or the other, so you don't get a thickness correct. But a larger knife like this works out really well. If you have any questions, send me an email to Jimbo's Kitchen Know-How, etc. at gmail.com, and also go to my webpage, Jimbo's Kitchen Know-How. And any comments you want to leave below, I'll be glad to answer those for you. So anything I can do for you, please let me know. And I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you learned something. So come back to see me, and folks, be safe out there.